Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy Rosco Graves. I'm FSBN's first generation Avallum. I'm the unrelated, the pink ranger, the annoyance of the world, and just a regular dude. Hello, welcome on everybody. I have just noticed that we don't have any single music coming in. So let me add some stuff. Let me add some things. Let me see. Would this work? I can't hear it. Mate kudasai, mate kudasai. Okay. There you go. Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear that? Is this on loop? Properties. It is on loop. Pog. It's cozy. Yes, it's very cozy. Welcome to my cozy stream. They're one of the rare few times that I'm not going to be yelling a lot, I think, maybe. I don't know. Why is it so dark in here? Because we're in a tavern. We don't have modern lighting, you knave. We are not of nobility. We are of the peasantry. We merely have torches and campfire. Who are you? Where's Rosco? I'm literally right here. Okay, so scratch out and yelling. I'm still gonna be yelling, mostly at you guys. Nice glasses, dork. Yeah, nice ears, Dumbo. Don't talk to me. I thought you said no screaming. Well, you guys bring out the best in me. What can I say? Guys, welcome to my little world building crash course, kinda. Here's the thing. Let me open my can of Pringles real quick. I mean Bringles. Sorry, I'm not sponsored. Here's the thing. I'm sure most of you guys know that my brain work a little silly. Right? My brain work a little silly. And so the things that the way I think may not be, what's the word? May not be as understandable, or it makes sense when I talk about it. So, did you prepare it all? I have little notes, and I have my work beside me to give you examples. So I have done some prep. I do just wanna mostly not freeball it, but have things come from my head, because I feel like if I write it down, I'll explain way too much, and I won't have time to answer your questions. I want to be on my A game today when it comes to like improvising and stuff like that, in terms of like giving you guys information. So I know what I'm going to talk about, but I don't know how we're going to go about it. So let me start by doing this. Now, by the way, guys, how are you? Hope you guys are doing good. Dab me up. Anyways, also, hold on before I forget. Angel Nixian, welcome to the Graves Gang. Happy to have you back. And Jess Stan, thank you for the mem cheese. Thank you. Okay, let's start with this. Now, I myself, I would not classify myself as a professional writer. I am the complete opposite of such. I have, again, a science degree. Professor, I have a question. How do you world build? I'm getting there. Hold on. Let me lock in. I have a science degree. I don't have a degree in the arts. Okay, I don't have a English degree. However, I do like to write purely fiction. Purely fiction. Right? And when I say fiction, I mean specifically high fantasy and at times sci-fi. Sci-fi is mixed into the lore that I have with FSP. Now, when I say that, so this is merely a passion. I myself don't have actual educated takes or advice. This is merely from what I have learned in my past few years creative writing. Okay, so what is world building? So world building is literally what it is. World building, not worlding. World building is literally building a world. It is literally building a world. But what does that entail? it entails history, the people, the culture, landmarks, and overall lore. Okay? It includes all of those things. All right. Now, world building does not have to be every single one of these things. What we did in VCraft was technically world building. We built a world together, right? Now, history in that sense came as we were playing it. We created the history, right? Because what we did in the present became the past, and that became the history, right? The people were us, the culture was the town, landmarks we created with our housing and Vitruvius' giant crater, right? That was world building. So it has different varying degrees. You could be so strict. You could be so strict with every single minute detail, which is sometimes what I do. You could be so detailed. You could be so specific and precise. But there's also a more loose version of world building. Don't forget the home videos of Demigod, Sick, Physics, and No Scope montages, big world building. Yeah, you guys can even make the gods do 360 no scopes. You can make the gods a VTuber if you want. All that is world building. What's up, Bruce? What's up? Hi, Mayor. Happy Balloon Day, by the way! I didn't see it on Twitter. Happy Balloon Day! I know I'm late. Sorry. You can do so much. There's a more loose version of world building where I'm culpable of this. Where you just make stuff up on the fly. If someone asks you what this is about, you just make it up, right? And I'm talking in the context of D&D. So that is basically world building. It's all of that stuff. Now, I will be talking strictly, again, like I said before, making D&D campaign, because that is where most of my knowledge comes from. So when making a world, I'll be talking from the perspective of making a D&D world, which should be okay for most things, because most worlds in literature or a D&D or even in a game has a similar thing. But I'm just letting you guys know my perspective is from making a D&D world, right? So usually when I make a D&D world, I actually start with the map. But I don't have perms yet for a specific program that I want to use, so we will hold off on making the map. But the next thing I do after the map, right? And the map takes me months, by the way. I take forever on maps. I'm so bad at like visualizing land, it's awful. The next thing that I do is I make up history. So my first step is Roscoe's first step. Write the history. And so if you guys remember, I don't know if you guys were there for the Minecraft streams way back when where I talked about this. Let me pull out my drives real quick because I got a bunch on here. I had made a world prior. Prior to joining FSP, prior to even me making, content on the internet, before I started everything, I was just a little D&D nerd, right? And so I had written a world called Thelora, and I had written a history. And so I basically created a world history for this world that I was creating. And so the basics of it was that there was a creator god. This is how a lot of people start off. There was a creator god, and they created, the pantheon. And so then these sort of outer gods, in a sense, came in, wanted to take the world for themselves because they claimed it as theirs. They fought the creator god, perished, leaving the pantheon of gods that he created left to take over the world. So basically, the children had to inherit daddy's creation. And so then the people suffered through that, right? And so over time, the faith to the pantheon kind of diminished. And so they became they became low-key atheists. I'm not gonna lie, no, they lost their faith. Like they knew let me get my phone real quick. They knew the gods were there and everything, but they had lost faith and that they could protect them, and so they kind of actually looked for outside. Play Mappa Imperium with me. I am the ghost of nerds past. Mappa Imperium is that's the cooperative one, right? Oh my god, wait, that sounds like a good idea though. Wait, Loki. Yo, joint world building collab. I want to make a freaking giant dingaling as a landmass. I'm not gonna lie, I want to mess around. Motori's thing for 6 months. It's already 6 months that I'm here, and it was the best time of my life. I'm so happy to be here with you and Rosco's. Thank you for being you. Love you all. Thank you so much, Motori's too. Thank you. Deal. Let me get first real quick then. Let me ask. Write it down. Write it down. Call it the peninsula. Yes, and this right here is the peninsula. Home to the Jack-Off Council. Yo, who said that me up? Who is that? Who? Wait, I didn't see that. Oh, frick, hold on. My alert box is off. There you go. I'll put it down here. Okay. Train of thought. Back where I was going. Okay. So, yeah, the people lost faith. And so, there was this little event, called the Beckoning. TLDR, some dude is like, I don't want to trust in the gods anymore. I'm gonna build a device that'll break whatever is surrounding the world, which is like a sort of shield slash font of mana for people to use magic. He broke that. And it turns out that this shield around the world was a sort of veil to hide against outer gods after what happened with freaking the other outer gods. And so it shattered, and so the other outer gods sought the Lord for like the very first time. And so because of that, different beings and you know, again, outer god, I say outer god, that term loosely, began to affect the world of Thalora. And so that's where, you know, people would start playing, is in that age of like, you know, distrust in the resplendency, which is the pantheon, and all that good stuff. And so that's the history. That's what I started with. And so when writing a history, I think to start, you have to know where to end, in my personal opinion. That's what I do. So let me write this down for you so you guys can follow along. Give me 1 sec. There you go. So to write history, I start with the end. I start with the end. And what I mean by that is, I want to know what my world looks like. I want to know what my world looks like when people start out playing it. That's also technically the best way to write your essays. Very true. I get stuck at the start so often, it's awful. So starting at the end is what I do. Knowing the end so you know how to get there. Exactly. Or knowing the end so you can kind of like concoct a path to it. And that's why you start with maps. I start with maps to not only flesh out the world and like think of like cool places and stuff, because I think of the cool stuff first, you know, like the fun stuff, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put a giant mountain here, or maybe there's a giant gorge of like freaking monstrosities that people have never seen before. I did do the fun stuff first, which is why I draw maps, right? At the same time, that gives you time to think of like, okay, how does this connect to everything, right? And so starting with the end helps you kind of have an endpoint, and you can make the path. You can make the path there however you want, but you know your destination. It's like taking a detour on a road trip. You know where you're going, but like how you're gonna get there. You know what I mean? And so that's what I start doing. Is I start with the end. Okay? And once I start with the end, I think, okay, I have what I want. I know what I want my world to be. Right? Now, and afterwards, after I do that, I start writing. I start writing important events in basic format. And what I mean by basic format is I don't mean like typing out 2 paragraphs. I mean, okay, event 1, this happens. Event 2, this happens. Event 3, this happens. Right? I do like a timeline, a basic timeline of what order of events happen. So for example, let me give you from my own lore that I've written. Event 1, the creation of the Laura. Okay? Event 2, the birth of the Resplendency. Event 3, the invasion of outer gods, the first time. Event 4, the Kings of Glass, which were like the mortal protectors of the Laura. Right? Event 5, one of those people betrayed the world. Like they betrayed the Resplendency and everything. And then event 5 was the battle they had, and event 6 was the aftermath. And event 7 was the present time. So I keep like a basic timeline. What if you can't do the ending you prepared because players have changed too much of the world? No. So what I mean when I say I know I want an ending, this is strictly talking about your history of the world. I'm not talking about the campaign, right? If you're writing for a D&D campaign. If you're writing for a book, you can decide whatever you want. But if you're writing a history of the world, you have to know what your world should look like when your players jump into it. When your players jump into it, that's when they decide what to do, right? Because they kind of shape the story, right? In a way. But this is strictly talking in history format. So you know what you want your world to look like, so you need to know how to get there. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, I write like the important events in basic format, and then after I sort of rack ideas in my head and be like, okay, so this is what I want to happen. This is how I'm gonna get there. Who's involved? And so then I write characters. Create. I want to say create the cast. I create the cast. Okay, creation of the world. Who created it? The creator god, right? Which is in the lore that I've written for my old D&D campaign is called the Everliege. Okay, they made the world, right? Blah, blah, blah. Who did they make? The people of the lore. Blah, blah, blah. He wanted his own family as well. Who did he create? Resplendency. Blah, 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 blah. Right? And so I just started creating the cast. I click, who did this? Who did this? Who's involved in this? Blah, 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 right? And I create the important cast. I create the cast. And then after I create the cast, that's when I truly start writing, right? Then we get specific. Then we get the specific or write the story, right? So once I have my ending for this history, once I have what important events will lead to that history, and once I have who was involved in that history, then I will get specific. I will start writing out the events. Now, I don't plan things, so delicately that like I need to have every single detail before I write it. I just need these details. Who? What? When? Why? And how? The basic questions. Once I figured out, okay, I know what I want. I know how to get there. I know how to answer these questions. Let's start writing. I'll just start writing. If I don't like something, I'll rewrite it. Right? You don't have to plan, for me specifically. I don't have to plan things so meticulously. Once I have basic information, I'm like, all right, let's do it. And we type, okay? Right? And that's how it happens. That's how it is. So that's history for you when I world build. Something to help you, and let me eat a Pringle while I think about this. something that will help you is maybe creating or thinking of a theme for this history or for this world, right? For example, a theme that is present in the history that I wrote is the loss of faith, as well as the I guess the motivation to be one's own, I guess taking destiny into your hands, is that was what I meant to say. The loss of faith in another and wanting to take your own destiny or decide your own destiny. Those are prevalent themes. So if you have themes that are perhaps close to your heart, right? And I say this about characters, but I also do this in my worlds. Every piece of art, it doesn't have to be writing. It could be, you know, an art piece. It could be a song, right? Any piece of art will most definitely carry something from you, right? You will put something of yourself in that art. And I don't mean just time and effort. I mean like something about you. Another example I want to give, and this is character-wise, just so you get the idea. For example, would be a character that I have. I think I explained it in my past character creation stream. A character of mine named Jarek. And his want to right wrongs and carry responsibility even though they aren't his. Because the backstory for Jarek is that he was essentially, it's like a Pinocchio story. He was not a person. He was this doll that was commanded by this, you know, mage guy, and was ordered to kill and assassinate higher figures. The souls of those people were, I guess, absorbed into the doll itself, and they all combined and basically made Jarek a person, right? But he has all his memories, and you can see all like the what's the word? All the regrets and memories of these people, and has it in himself to like write it or correct it. But it's not him, right? So at the same time, while trying to amend things that for people that, you know, are part of him now, he's trying to figure out who the hell he is too. It's like a search for oneself, right? And I had a similar feeling, right, when I was younger, when I was growing up. And so a part of me is in that character, and it gets me closer to that character. When in terms of world building, it helps you sort of, I guess, immerse yourself in the world you're creating because of how familiar and how close you are to the overlying themes that you've added into this history, right? So you can sort of sympathize, I think is the right version of the word, or empathize, sympathize or empathize yourself with the people and figure out how they would think and how they would act and what would happen in turn because of this, right? So it helps you be like, makes it easier for the writing process. And so once, you know, we write the history and I make the map, right? Then I will start making cities / culture. So this is my next step. Once the history is created and we're in the present, I'm like, okay, I can write this into the history later, right? But I need to make cities, I need to make culture, right? So what I do is I choose on my map once it's made, correct? So good. I make major cities, and it depends on your campaign if there are major cities, or if it's a smaller set, maybe like encampments, something like that. Some major landmarks of civilization is what I do. I put them in different places, right? And I take inspiration from so many places. So I would take inspiration from real life. I would take inspiration from video games. I'll take inspiration from anywhere. I remember I was searching online for inspiration, and you know, it's the easiest thing to pull from, but I had not thought of it until later. So there is a section on my map. I don't know if I have it anymore. Let me try to find it real quick. Let me see if I can grab it. Let me see if I can find it. There was another world that I created called, I think it was Ikari. Where is it? I think it's right here. No, it's not here. Damn, where did I leave it? Nevertheless, Ikari. I had actually split the map in two. So, and I took inspiration from Final Fantasy, actually, from 14. Oh, I split the map. This is another one. I split one side to be free states. One side was completely like free city states, their own kingdoms, their own, you know, all that stuff on one end. The other side of the map was an empire, and I called it Cardenheim. And so Cardenheim was completely just one side of the map, and there was a very hard border between these two. So there's politics. Yeah, there was politics. I know, scary, right? And so that's where I started. Like, okay, this side, city states. This side, an entire empire. So I know what to do for each side. For Thalora, and specifically Garamsil, which was the continent that people will be starting in, the entire continent was filled with just kingdoms, right? In a similar sense to like Elder Scrolls, right? And so I was like, okay, so we'll have one place here, and they'll have their territory. We'll have this place here, they'll have their territory. We'll have this over here, they'll have their territory. This over here, they'll have their territory. And so different regions had their own, you know, rulers and kingdoms and not empires rather, but you know, like city states, things like that. I had actually built, there was a plateau on that map. I want to find that map so bad. I don't know if I showed you. There was a plateau which I made into the map, right? And this is where you get like to do cool stuff with how you make your cities and make your landmarks. There is a plateau, and if you don't know what a plateau is, it's just a giant rise of land that was flat on the top. And so I thought, you know what would be cool? What if I built a city inside that plateau? What if I built a whole city inside that plateau? And so there was there's a city inside the plateau as well as the top form of it. There's like the underground and the top. And so that's what I made. That's what I made. And so I put that there. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'll keep that there. And maybe their whole thing is that they're like an industrial, you know, supplying stone kind of, like their whole thing is masonry, right? And they send out like stone. Maybe the stone within the plateau is very durable, and it can be used for like, you know, very important stonework, you know, and stuff like that. So maybe that's their whole thing. And maybe there's like mining in there, like a mining city as well. They import, you know, their stone, their ore, and all that. That's how they make their money, right? And so you can kind of like start like branching ideas from just one idea, which is me building a city inside a mountain. I almost call you Utah again. I'm so VCraft filled, so I almost called you Utah. Nayu, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome to Nebbies. We're just talking about world building. This is like class. So if you're interested in this, by all means, stay. It's gonna be fun if they're still interested. Just I'm coping for VCraft, so. Yep. Welcome on, everybody. Hope you had a good stream. Guys, you excited for Nayu's 3D tomorrow? I'm excited. I'm hyped as hell, dude. I can't wait. Hell yeah. I wish the best of luck to Nayu in his 3D. He's gonna do great. I know he is. It's gonna do amazing. But yeah, so just from one idea, you can quite literally create entire culture, their entire like industry and stuff like that, right? So from building a mountain or building a city into a mountain, you get like, oh, they have mining business, they have stonework business. You can figure out how to make money and their culture and stuff. And it's like, okay, mountains, dwarves. Maybe it's like Dwarven Ran, right? And so that's how you get it. And I was thinking, okay, maybe since there's like an underground on the top side, maybe it's like a weird like split in classes, like only like the lower and middle, like lower class citizens, lower class, lower middle class work and live in the mountain, right? And then maybe like nobility and things and people of similar stature live up top. And so there's this weird divide in that city. Maybe it can cause like some sort of, conflict at a later time. Promotion thing is it, but is this also for current running DMs? What do you mean? This advice? Yeah, for sure. This can help you shape lore and stuff. Class system, kinda. It's not explicitly stated, but yeah, this kind of have a class system. So yeah. Another one I had based heavily on Niflheim from 14. I had another one where it's a kingdom that's built on mountain peaks. And I called it wait, what did I say? Niflheim? What was the fourth? Isilgard? Isel. Hold on, guys, search it up. I haven't played 14 in a fat minute, guys. Ishgard is what it's called. I had based it on Ishgard. And so because of that, one sec. Where is my drive? Where is my drive? There you are. I have found you. Yes, Project Mirror. Okay, so yeah. I had based the city in the mountains off of Ishgard, and I called it Nilvaum. And Nilvaum had a similar aesthetic, I would say, to Ishgard, right? In the sense that like they are very solitary. They are extremely solitary, and the only type of interaction they have with other kingdoms and other, ruling factions is purely trade. It's purely trade. And I would assume, since they live in the mountains as well, some kind of ore. Or maybe they're really good steel workers and they do trade for like with their weapons and armor or things of that nature, right? Okay, there in 6 months. Holy crap, I'm Piss Gang. Oh, you're Piss Gang now. Yeah, you're yellow. Let's go. 6 months ago. Yeah, and you become gay. Get the gay badge. Let's go. You guys are gonna be like, once you get the new badges, you're gonna be like, no! They stripped it away from me, no! You have to do. Once you guys reach that new milestone, I'm sorry, I think it's over. Back in the closet we go, on God, for real. Yeah, and so all these different places, they can have, different cultures and cities. And these don't only have to be cities, actually. Let's talk about landmarks. So landmarks can stem from different things. One, an idea you had in your head that you thought of, which should be a cool landmark to maybe go explore later on. Or two, just some random point you put on your map and you thought, wait, that looks kind of cool, let's make it an important landmark, right? It could be either one or in between or something all different altogether, right? And so, for example, I had an idea for an area, which I was going to form into a dungeon type of deal, like an expedition, called the Sunken Bosque. And so what the Sunken Bosque was it like, basically think of a forest, and if you grabbed it from the middle and you pulled it down. And so the jungle, the forest, whatever it is, would kind of spiral down below. And so there'd be waterfalls and slopes and, you know, all sorts of manner of wildlife. And at the very bottom, I don't know what I was going to put there, but it's going to be something really cool at the bottom or something important that requires the party to go. Right? There's another landmark which was called the Altered Halls. And so these were going to be a myth or legend that is actually real, and it's essentially a labyrinth of constantly changing paths and corridors. It was an ever-changing maze, right? And so that would have been a landmark that people could revisit, right? Another one that I had created, another landmark, was called, I believe it was called, I think it was a scar. I believe it was just called a scar. And so the scar was actually part of history. So the scar is the remnants of what happened after the last huge battle in history. It used to be lush with, you know, plant life and everything. But after that, the city that it originated from, which was Dulphage, everything pretty much died. Like it turned into like a nuclear hazard zone, kind of like Chernobyl. But it became a wasteland. It became a wasteland, and the city itself, Dulphage, became like a necropolis in a sense, right? I think I named it Dulphage, the Wen of the Aggrieved. I gave it like a Bloodborne Dark Souls name. That's the full title of Dulphage now, is Dulphage, the Wen of the Aggrieved, which means like home of like the dead, essentially. Or like those who, I don't know, you know, aggrieved, those who can't rest, things like that. That kind of goes hard though. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's fun though. It's fun making them names for this. I'm the namer, guys, you know it. And so yeah, that's how you make landmarks and cities and stuff. You just get an idea, you know, like for example, with Marenthal, which was the mountain city, but like, you know, what'd be cool? I put a city in there. Do the players use the world building the DM creates to write their own character lores, choosing pre-made hometown on the map, or vice versa, DM adds cities around them? It depends. So when I DM, when I used to DM, I would make the lore first. I'm like, all right, guys, I would be in the middle of making it before I mentioned it to other people. I'm like, yo, I'm making a D&D world. Do you want to play? I'm like, yes. And then granted, we never played because we all got busy. But they're like, yes. I'm like, okay, let me finish what I'm doing and we can talk about this. Lucien Lunaris, welcome on in. Welcome. We're doing world building 101 because I'm still coping off of VCraft, so I'm going to talk about world building and all that good stuff. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you had a good hand cam. Hope you had a good time over there. Welcome. Yeah, we're just talking about world building again. We're just yapping, having a good time, explaining some things. It's kind of like a 101 teacher type of deal. So if you want to stay and listen, maybe learn something from me and my weird mind, by all means. But welcome on in, everybody. Okay, what was I talking about? Chat, what was I saying? I completely lost my train of thought. Shoot. Oh, world building, the freaking the world. Yeah, I'll answer your question. So I'm in the middle of making my world, and I'll tell people, hey, yo, I'm making a world, you want to play? They're like, yes, okay. And I say, let me finish what I'm doing. Jessen, thank you for the gifted mem cheese. Thank you so much. And so then I finish the map, and I talk to them, right? And so they give me their ideas, we do the thing, and they write their backstories. From there, I tell them, okay, I have these major cities. Is your character from one of these major cities, or do you want to come from a small town or maybe a lesser known place? And they tell me, okay. And then I'm like, okay. And so we have to concoct a new place together and give it some background, right? Because in all legitimacy, you cannot write everything in one go, right? It's like loading chunks in Minecraft. You cannot have the entire world generated immediately. It's too much work. It is too much work. No one can do it, right? And so you have to add things on over time, and that's okay, especially in a D&D context, because a lot of it will be improv, right? And so it will be in multiple sessions, and you can think of what you want to do, correct? So you also allow the player to help you create this world with you. They want to be from a small town? Okay, good. Let's make it together. What do you want? Who's important in this town? What happened here? Yada, 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 yada. Your brain is still working in Minecraft. It is. I want season 2, man. I'm waiting. I'm just here. I'm just here, man. That was so fun. I want to do it again. Please. If you need help from me, I got you, bro. Anything you need, I'll do it. Just please. Please, bro, please, bro, please. He needs another RP. I really do. Yeah, I really do. But yeah, so when it comes to players, it just depends. If they want to come from a big city that I've already made, then I'll do that for them. Then they can all right. And so I just ask them for like the people that are involved in their backstory. Or if they want to be from like another place, we'll make it up together. Yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. Yep. When it comes to backstories, though, for making player characters in the D&D sense, it depends on the person. Because, for example, I will not stop mentioning VCraft, and I hate this. For example, in VCraft, oh my god, in VCraft, there was the hard RPers and there was the soft RPers. That will be the same thing. That will be the same thing in a D&D session specifically. For writing a book, this does not apply to you, but I'm talking from a D&D standpoint. There will be a certain divide. You can tell there are those who are into the RP and are more there for the story, if anything, and then there are those who aren't really into the RP as much but want to play and fight and do all the roles and stuff, right? And so when it comes to writing backstories, some will be much more simpler than others. If for example, if you had me and let's say you had who can I bring out? Let's say you had me and you had Cass on your table. I would write so much for my player backstory. I would write so much. You would get sick of me writing everything. Cass would write like a page at most, maybe. If he's not super into his character. If he's just there for a good time and like fight monsters and have an adventure with his friends, he won't write that much, right? And so there'd be different players. And so you kind of have to work around that. And if you want like players like, I'm not saying like Cass, he's not fully like that, but if you want players who aren't into the RP as much to get into the story, you're gonna have to write the story for them in a sense, so they get invested into it. You know what I mean? Kind of. Makopi, there are 2 months, so VCraft Season 2 when? Also, yet be 2 months. Guys, I cannot say when VCraft Season 2 is coming out because it is not my thing. I just really want it. I'll just yap and be like, I really love. I just really love it, and that's all I'll say. Mokopi. Sorry, Mokopi. Wait, Mokopi. It's Mokopi. I'm done. Mokopi. Yeah, it's probably months. It's gonna be months from now, dude. So we gotta wait. I don't know what's happening. I just want to do it. It's gonna be months from now, so we'll have to wait a while. Yeah, but whenever it happens, guys, I'll be there. I'll be there. But yeah, back on topic. Tell me the cities and the culture. And then from that, in all legitimacy, in perfect honesty, lore just comes naturally. And what I mean by that is, like, once you have your history and once you have your cities and the cultures that are there, you can pretty much figure out how to make things happen, right? And have fun. Yeah, and have fun with it. It all falls into place pretty much. You have your basic building blocks. Now you just add the spice that makes it feel alive. You know what I mean? Again, VCraft mentioned it really will all spark off from like a main event, right? And that's how you get to like writing stuff. VCraft mentioned, for example, me and Lucy, if we didn't steal from Vitruvius, I don't think any of the arc that happened would have happened. Right? If we didn't steal from Vitruvius, I legitimately think none of what we saw on that server, RP wise, would have happened. It's cause and effect. So you have like, you'll have your event, like, okay, this will create a domino effect. This will happen, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. You'll write that down. You don't have to be, again, you don't have to be super specific. You can be very basic, and when the time comes for it to lock in on that, or just, you know, have a spotlight on that certain event or thing or whatever, then you get specific. You don't have to write 10 pages for like one event, right? You can be very basic. Like, this happened, this happened, this happened. And once it's brought up into the story, right? Then you can start making information for it. Right? So lore just comes really after the building blocks. Braxton and Rosco are haunting you? Let them. I welcome them, dude. I miss them. Mine is Braxton. I don't miss Braxton as much, but I miss it. Oh my god. I miss Dog and DM, bro. They're having a happy life. They're flying around, having a good time. The themes you focus on while building can show up as fractals within fractals, the same theme throughout the world as an individual character's life, so it looks like a thorough line and feels cohesive. Yeah, exactly. It all branches down. It's like a trickle effect. You have the waterfall and it trickles down. But, you know, it's not a money scheme. Right? And so, having these basic building blocks really helps create everything, and you can like format and think of everything, and then with the player's input as well in a D&D from a D&D standpoint, you know, they'll help as well and add their own flair into the world and everything. And so yeah, that's pretty much how world building kind of works. It seems very simple, but it does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of time to kind of put it all together. It does not have to be finished. I will say that. It does not have to be fully fleshed out and finished. Again, like Minecraft, you can generate a chunk. You can generate a chunk, have them start there, and as they're exploring that chunk, you generate the other chunks. So you're ready for new storylines or wherever they're gonna go. Right? Just so you don't overwhelm yourself. Right? That's how I approach world building, step by step. I have their launch point and I create every other point. It's like how Genshin and freaking Wuthering or Wuwa does their expansions. Like, all right, you're going here for this entire update while we build the other one. So you guys take your time here, okay? It's like that. I'm basically releasing DLCs. We need to counter for how many times talk about VCraft. Leave me alone, bro. Leave me alone. I love VCraft. It was so fun. But yeah, that's how world building works for me. I mean, yeah, I pretty much explained how I do things. It's super simple. It's super bare bones. I know. I'm sorry. I'm not a freaking literally genius. I just do what I do based off instinct. Literally instinct. Literally instinct. Oh, Promotion just DM'd me. They said, in my campaign, one of the players made a whole kingdom that gave me lore ideas of how the kingdom was ran, and including a whole revolution that had taken place. It allowed me to build onto it and to bring it up. It even included previous architecture that previous kings had added, such as Colosseum, that had the focus of an arc on its own there. But the same can be opposite, where you, the DM, can add and build on so much that, such as another player had absolutely no lore, a very bare bones, but had the caveat that it was asked more, and with that, I was able to throw so much about my world and the gods that exist to give him his own personal story and character arc. Yeah, your players can give you so much that you don't have to do any work for them, or they can give you so little that you can basically impose your own creative ideas onto it. Once you get inspired, you start writing. Simple as. Once you start writing, once you get inspired, you'll start writing. Now, and specifically in a D&D standpoint. Yeppers. When it comes to making landscape, let me talk about this. So, okay, take your screenshots if you want to. I don't know if you're taking this seriously, but I'm just gonna keep yapping. Don't try to be too strict on realism. And what I mean by that is that this is a fantasy world if you're writing in a fantasy context. This is a fantasy world. And even if you're writing in a sci-fi context, it is fantasy. You can have fun with it. Okay? One thing that I see, if you wanna have splitting rivers, then have splitting rivers, okay? And this is what I mean. There is a whole thing. There is a thing where there is two teams. There are the no splitting rivers gang and the splitting rivers gang. And let me tell you why this is a whole thing. Because in real life, rivers rarely split. Rivers rarely split in real life. Now, and then there's the other group of people like, but splitting rivers is cool. Guys, if you want to have a splitting river, then have a splitting river. Do not try to, hold yourself back because of realism, okay? Yes, a dash of realism makes the immersiveness very much better, but a splitting river will not take away the realism, okay? I had a boy saying 18 months. Some people suggested to the other boys that there can be an RP event just for FSP. Doesn't have to be Minecraft, maybe improv event, and happy 18 months. Happy 18 months, I know. Thank you so much. I was thinking about that. I actually thought of the idea to do a similar thing to the Enchanted Minecraft server that Niji did. But again, we got busy and I didn't have time to really think it through. But with this event, I was a bit inspired to do sort of our own thing in the meantime. Either in Minecraft or in a GTARP sense. But I feel like a GTRP would have to have more people. So I don't know. But yeah, I did think about that. I was thinking, I don't want to say it because then you guys expect it. I had an idea. It's not gonna happen because it's still an idea. Where I take the members of FSP and they don't play themselves, and I take them to Primaterra. And they play characters that were alive in past points in Primaterran history. And so you'll see what happened during the Age of Glass, and so that will add on to lore, right? And maybe we go even further and go to the Forgotten Era. Well, that's after a while, because the Forgotten Era includes pieces of lore that are super important. But that's an idea. It is not a thing, and let me tell you why. It is very hard. It is excruciatingly hard to gather people for a D&D session. And so if I were to gather people, I'd have to gather them in a specific time zone where we're all comfortable and multiple times. You know, I don't know how willing everyone else is to give up like a few hours of the day for every week or something like that. And we're all busy. We're all very busy. So if anything, I'll have to incorporate a what's it called? A marches kind of feel where we like swap in party members. To do that. You know? Right now I'm just thinking FSP, but if people would like to, they can join from outside the company if they would like to. If they like, you know, the campaign setting and everything. But it's hard. It's hard. So I'm thinking about it, but I don't know whether I should do it or not. Anyways, that's that. I'm very hesitant to have reach out outside of FSP for this specific idea because of how much it ties into FSP lore. So it's really scheduling, how consistent it is, and overall effort and time that it requires. So yeah, anyways, just an idea. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen. Just an idea. Continuing on, what was I talking about? Realism. Yes, if you want to have a splitting river, you can have a gosh darn splitting river, okay? Let no one tell you otherwise. Okay? Splitting rivers don't occur often. They are very rare in real life. And that's why people are like, don't have splitting rivers in your continent because it's not real. Who cares, bro? Dog, if you want a giant mountain with a sword in it because of some freaking divine war that happened years ago, put a damn giant sword in a mountain, bro. I want two splitting. You have two splitting rivers. Make the river look like a lightning bolt for all I care of. It's your world. Have fun with it, man. Who cares? You can be as realistic or as least realistic as you want. It's your damn world. Just do it. Just do it. If you want two ginormous mountain peaks next to each other, do it. Right? It is your world. It depends on how much you want to make it realistic. I'm for semi-realism. So I don't do splitting rivers as often, right? I don't do that. I actually research how rivers kind of work in order to you know, make water lakes kind of make sense a little bit. Kind of. But besides that, my rules are just purely off of like what I think is cool and would look good to give it a sort of diversity. Like for example, I had one area that was pure plains land. It would change into like a highlands type of feel, inspired by High Rock from Elder Scrolls, where the Britons lived. I think the biggest thing is your world has to believe itself more than it has to believe in reality. Exactly. Your world has to feel real, in the sense of like, yeah, this could happen. This is reality to me now. The same way that recap worked. The same way. Let me get it out. There you go. Have the world be believable. Believable. I can't spell. To itself, rather than trying to follow, oh shoot, reality. Because the reality is that the reality is in the world itself. The world doesn't know that reality is the reality. The reality is the world that you're making. You know what I mean? What's a good way to put a limit on what is possible and what is not? If you think about your if you think about a landmark, you're like, you know what, dude, that's crazy. That's a crazy idea. And you think about how crazy it feels. If it's like a crazy cool or like good, then you put it in there. If it's crazy like that doesn't make any sense to me, then you don't do it. It just depends how you feel about it, man. How do you go about creating systems that govern the world? I just look at different types of governments, to be honest. When it comes to like creating kingdoms and stuff, like maybe there's an oligarchy, a monarchy, you know, is it ruled by a queen or a king? What are they about? Are they like super law and order, or is it like a lawless land? You know, I sprinkle whatever in there. Right? Is there like an overarching government? Maybe, maybe not. I just make up stuff. It's really just making up stuff. You're just like, okay, what do I want in here? All right, let's make some stuff up. I can't really give you like, this is what you should put. This and 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 this. Like, I don't like to limit your possibilities, right? I just see what's possible and what's happened in real life. Like, okay, maybe I'll put a monarchy here, and a monarchy over here. Maybe I'll put like a sort of democracy or a republic in this area. That kind of thing. It just depends on how you feel about it, you know? What can you sprinkle in there without the world losing its grip on its own realism? You know what I mean? Yeah. Yep. Makes sense? I'm glad, because I hope I am rambling. Did you ever try to create your own world system before, like magic system and stuff? Ooh. That's a good question. Okay, so magic power systems are really hard. They're really hard. And let me tell you why. Oh my god. In the opposite of world building, you need to have very set ground rules. You need to have a very strict set of rules if you're making your own power system from the ground up. You need to have limits and restrictions, and you need to figure out ways to find exceptions within these limits and restrictions. Do you see what I'm putting down right now? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? It is hard. If you're following a simple 5e, spell slot thing, then you're fine. You can find a reason for why it exists, but the rules are already set in place. So whereas you don't mess it up, no matter what kind of flavor text you put upon it. But doing it from the ground up is so hard again, because you need to have limits and rules and figure out what exceptions are out to those rules. And make sure that whatever powers occur make sense within the rules. And if there is a rule that severely limits the power system, you need to find a way to make an exception for that. And it's just a lot of work. I've never done it myself. I've tried to. I've never been able to finish one because of how complicated it is to me, at least. It's a huge struggle. From where I would start now, knowing what I know and experiencing what I've experienced and learning what I've learned, I would start off with a very basic concept. A super basic concept. Like, okay, I want these powers to emerge from a certain thing or from a certain event. Okay, let's pull from, what's a good example? What's a good example? What do you think? That I know like a lot of. Not VCraft. Shut up. We're not pulling from VCraft. What's a good example? Let's do One Piece. I'm sure you know One Piece. Devil fruits, right? So the power system started with devil fruits. Okay? It started with devil fruits. And so the power system went like this. There are 3 different devil fruits. 3 different types or categories, right? The Logia, the Paramecia, and the Zoan. Right? The Zoan is animal powers, Logia is like elements and stuff like that. And Paramecia is just random powers, right? It's like randomness. It could be literally whatever. Okay. Now, Oda, I'm assuming, is like, okay, once they cross the grand line, devil fruits are supposed to be like rare, technically. So how are the common folk going to combat this besides using the sea? Because those who use devil fruits or have devil fruit powers can't swim. That's like one of their only weaknesses, is they can't swim or like the sea stone, right? But not everybody has that. So what can a regular person do to counter this? And that's where hockey came in. Hockey was supposed to be the direct counter to devil fruits, because Logia devil fruits with against a person who doesn't use hockey are overpowered. Like you cannot beat them, right? And so hockey was created in order to counter Logia fruits, because Oda realized, damn, Logia fruits are OP. No one can hit a Logia fruit at all. They're super OP, and so like he had to create another system called hockey. And there's like different types of hockey. There's like armament, there's observation hockey, there's all that stuff. Conqueror's hockey, it's awful. And so he had to create another system for that. And he went branching out. And then he did awakened forms later on. Spoiler alert, by the way. Right? He did the smile fruits. Right? And then like each individual person has their own power up too. Yeah, like with Sanji, how he was like basically a superhuman who was a late bloomer or something. It's a mess. It's a mess. Okay? It as much as I love One Piece, the One Piece power system is spaghetti code. I think it's spaghetti code. But it's fun. And that's why I like it, because it's fun. That's why I have no problems with it, because it's fun. What's that mean? When I mean the One Piece power, or yeah, power system is spaghetti code, I mean that the power system itself basically received updates to nerf other things, but then those updates became overpowering or something like that, or he had to like find ways to counter that. It basically was, this is too good, let me add this, but this is not, now this is too good, let me add this. And so it's just a constant just mishmash of corrections. That's why I think it's that's what I mean when I say spaghetti code. It's so good though, I like it. Now, it's not as complicated, okay? It's spaghetti code, okay? But it's not as complicated as JJK. I don't understand JJK at all. I don't understand it. There's no rules. For Jujutsu Kaisen, there is no rules. Oh. I don't understand JJK. The moment they added pachinko to JJK power system, I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me anymore. I lost it. This does not make any sense to me. That's true spaghetti code for me. It's crazy. Bro, it's so simple. Just yeah. There are literal walls of text in JJK. There are literal texts in JJK that explain the power of somebody, but when you read it, you still don't understand. It's just words. It's just words. Fairy Tail's a decent power system. I feel like it's, I wouldn't say spaghetti code. I feel like One Piece isn't as spaghetti code as much as it was just corrections and patches. It was just patches. It would patch. Same thing with Fairy Tail. There was patches here and there. JJK is true spaghetti code. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And that's why making power systems is so hard, because of how annoying it is to find out that something you created later down the line is a little bit too overpowered, so you have to create a counter or nerf it. And that's why it's so hard. It's super hard to do it, man. That's why I never really ventured into making a power system, because I stayed pretty much strictly with like what D&D provides, because it's easy and it makes sense. You can add whatever flavor you want. It just makes sense. So lore is like a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Pretty much, man. It becomes a back and forth of, does this work? Is this too weak? Is this too overpowered? It just goes in circles, and you have to figure out what works. And it's just a lot of work. And so I've never done it. But I would start simple with the concept. Like, for example, I'll give One Piece. Okay, Devil Fruits. That's the power. Now what do they do? Rock, paper, scissors base is reliable. I feel like, I guess so. It's like fire, water. Yeah, I know what you mean. But that's super simple. And that's been done so many times. That's been done everywhere. A Pokemon. It doesn't have to be Pokemon. It could be like in Persona, like, you know, how Persona has different attacks and elements. The element system is fine. It's just overused, and it's like, you know, it's kind of boring. In my opinion, it's kind of boring. And to use as a base for power systems, if it's purely based off, this is better at attacking this, but it cannot take this. If you can make it unique, then it's fine. But I don't like the base of like, yeah, this is weak to this, but it's strong against this. I guess. Cool. Whatever. Like, in Black Clover, everyone has their own grimoire and their own type of spells and stuff. But like, nothing is weak against the other. It's just like how creative they can be, or like how, you know, it just depends on the grimoire. Like, wind isn't strong against, I don't know, what's flying types strong against? Wind isn't strong against someone who's like, I don't know, close range spell user. I don't know. It's not like that. It's just like, yeah, this type of spells, that's what they use. Get creative. How powerful are you? Can you get a familiar or something? You know, it's simple, but it's like, it works. Yeah, the Hunter x Hunter Nen system is so complex. I looked at the wiki and I'm reading it. I'm like, damn, this is a lot of stuff, but it's fun. It's fun. It's super complex, but it's fun, I feel like. But yeah, power systems, be simple. You can build onto it over time. It's like history. Just build over time and it'll work itself out. Just don't make it like GJK where you can add like crazy, super weird powers, because then it gets messy. Like, no thank you. We're good. No pachinko. I'm good. Thanks, G. Oh my god. But yeah. Just keep that in mind and we should be okay. We should be okay. Can we discuss how stories are made within these systems by answering the question, how is our protagonist unique in this system? Yeah, a lot of story writers. I'll just make this a Q&A session because I'm pretty much like just answering questions now. Okay. We're just yapping at this point. So, yeah, a lot of stories do this, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. Where they're like, okay, we have this power system. Our protagonist is gonna be special because it's the protagonist, and that's fine. Why is our protagonist special in this? What makes our protagonist special? It could be the ability they have. It could be something they grab or earn, things of that nature. Now, there are others who make the protagonist not actually different or crazy. They're actually part of the system, but later on, something about them completely changes how they fit into the system. That's how some others do it. They either start them off different or make them different later on. And it makes sense because they're the protagonist. They're supposed to be special in some shape or form, right? A thing happens. And it's just a plot device. In full honesty, it's just a plot device, because if they make them too generic, right, then it's kind of boring. But here's what I think too. If you make them fit into the system and you make the journey to their I guess their power scaling sort of satisfying, then that works as well. Usually what makes the protagonist unique is that they go against natural magic / power. Yeah, that makes them unique. But if you make their journey to their power scaling satisfying and fun, that can be equally as entertaining as making a protagonist that didn't conform to the set rules and laws of the power system in the beginning. Right? I think both are fun. I think both are very fun. So I think it's not a problem It's just how you do it. Like someone who is, there's a lot of them. People who are born outside the system or have powers outside the system, some characters can be so boring. It just becomes like a power trip kind of thing, like a power fantasy. And some of them are super boring. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's how it happens a lot of isekais. I'm not professional, by the way. It's just my opinion. It happens in a lot of isekais where, you know, the protagonist gets the crazy powers and they can do this, right? And they're like, they have a specific power that no one else has. And it's just like, oh man, it's just another one of these, right? Because they don't have anything different about it. It's just, yeah, I have this thing. I could do this thing that no one else can. It's just like, oh, bro, please give me something else, right? Some do it very well. Like solo leveling, besides the animation, it made Jin Woo's like, what's the word? Differentiator, kind of. It made sense and it made it entertaining. Like you can see the progress, right? It makes the power fantasy good, right? Like Eminence and Shadow, there was a loose power system, very loose, and it became a power fantasy. But it made it fun. It made it fun. Right? It made it really fun. All the other generic ones are just like, you know, it's whatever. It's another one of these. Protagonist is different because of this reason, and they're stronger than everyone else, right? I personally found solo leveling kind of boring. It depends on the person. I found it entertaining. I thought it was fun for me. I didn't think it was a crazy thing in like, you know, in the whole world. Like people are like, oh, this is the best anime. I thought it was alright. I thought it was fun. You know, I'm not too caught up in like whether it's good or not. If it was fun for me to watch, it was fun. Do you have any other world building pet peeves that you see in media? Let me think. Okay, this is gonna be. I don't. Should I talk about this? This is the one thing I noticed growing up. I feel like when it comes to female characters, come from a man, by the way. It's coming from a man, by the way. People cannot find the right balance when making a female character, as they do with male characters. There are really good ones out there. Don't get me wrong. There are some really, really, really good ones. And I like what they represent and how they are. But it's either they go too far in one direction, or they don't take any steps to make a character compelling at all. That's my one thing about it. I hate that. I hate it so much. And so because of that, when those characters are shown in the story, there'll always be people who will hate that character because of what they represent. Either they are the basic damsel in distress, right? Or there's another side where like this female character, you know, it's too much feminism, you know what I mean? And there'll always be this weird unbalance for a character. People will complain about that character. And I think, like, you know, I'm so for, you know, making, you know, the female characters good and making them less than just plot devices, but actual characters with their own feeling and stuff. But we need to really look at how people are IRL. We can, how do I say this? I don't want my female characters to be a device just because, like, oh yeah, I'm different. Look what I'm doing with this character. I write them different. I will write a female character because I want to make them compelling, because I want to make them feel like an actual person. You know what I mean? I I just want to make characters feel real. I don't care if they're man, female, or anything in between. Whatever I make them, you know, identify as. I just want to make them feel real, like an actual person. No one's flawless. They can have their own, you know, flaws. They can have flaws. It's fun to make them have flaws. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to go against the agenda. They can show their femininity all they want, but still be a compelling character and not be, you know, just sunk in the abyss of being a damsel in distress, right? And that's the thing I don't like, that I see often. It's one or the other. For example, I really did like, I watched gameplay and some cutscenes for the new Ghost of Yote game. I like that character. I forgot her name. I like that character. And there's one crowd that's like, oh, it just should have been a guy. Who cares, bro? I like the character. It's fun. Mama's another good example. I think Mama's extremely well written. I think Mama's really good as a character. Thank you for bringing it up. Mama's a good character. I like Mama from Apothecary. Right? And there's several different characters that, or plenty of other characters that follow, the, you know, a good balance of what really makes a good female character. Because you shouldn't just focus on the female part, you should focus on the character. That's what I think. Right? It sounds bad when I say it. I don't know how to reiterate it, but that's what I feel. People focus too much. I just want to make a character. And if they happen to be female, that's fine. I'm making a character. I'm making a person that someone can look at and read about and be like, yeah, that would be a person. Right? But yeah, that's what I feel like. That's my, I guess, hot take. Is that a hot take? I don't feel like it's a hot take. It's like it's just a take that no one really says. Like, yes, performative feminism. I think that's a good way to talk about it. Performative feminism. Pinkwashing. Is that what it is? Is that the actual term? Let me search it up, actually. Oh, this is specifically towards the LGBTQ community. It's the same thing, though. It applies in the same way. I'm not making a character for that. I'm making a character to make a character. If they happen to be that, to be whatever they identify as, if they happen to have, you know, this kind of orientation, so be it. Right? So be it. If it fits their character, so be it. I'm here to make the character. That's the issue I have with this. I don't like it. That, you know, it's always to look good, I guess you could say. When they don't really put thought into that character. I treat characters like my children, and I'm so what's the word? I'm so anal about this, dude. Now I will say, and don't get me wrong, I feel like it's harder for me to write female characters because I sincerely, it's hard for me to kind of insert myself into a female character because I haven't had the same experience, right? We have shared experiences, don't get me wrong, right? But I may feel a way different to someone else, right? And it's hard for me. A lot of my characters are male because it's easy for me to put myself into that character as a player, usually. It's hard, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying I can do it perfectly. I can't do it perfectly, right? But I feel like people should come with the same mindset as I do. Just to make a character, and they happen to be, you know, if the form they take happens to be the form they take, then so be it. It's just a character that I'm worried about. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But yeah, that's my take. That's my take. Yeah. Whew. that took every ounce of my breath, bro. I was like so caught up in that, man. I was so caught up in that. Yeah. Oh my god. Anything else? Any other questions? Any other questions when you want to ask me? We're on the tail end of this. It was just me literally just yapping the entire time, to be perfectly honest. That's why I write all my men in an idealistic way. It is in no way realistic. I think I'm weird. I make flawed characters a lot of the time. Like, they have their flaws. I write a lot of flawed characters. Purely because I can sympathize with a flawed character. I can't put myself in an idealistic character. How is that weird? Because I'm literally incapable of writing a perfect, like, an idealistic character. It's hard for me. How do you do clothes? Oh, that's hard because I don't have like fashion experience, right? Like, I don't know how to design clothes, think of clothes. I quite literally just take inspiration from cultures, right? And I'll combine cultures to make like a specific kind of style. Like, I had a character, and tell me if it's cultural appropriation. I wasn't trying to. I just thought it was a cool idea. I had a character who was from this nation of settlers who escaped another kingdom, and they settled on an island, and they basically had to start from zero. And so I had to combine, so like, an overall this is when I was in my weeb phase, overall Japanese aesthetic, but I had combined Native American architecture and designs into what I said. Architecture. I'm gonna use architecture. You know what I mean. Native American architecture and designs into what was on the island, into Japanese culture, and so they had that sort of feel. I could say. So I combined the two because I thought it was cool, and I thought it was interesting. All right, what did I call it? Promotion. Do you remember what I called it? Where is it? I gotta find it. I had pages of lore, guys. I had pages of lore for this island. It was called Seishioke. I called it Seishioke. That was what the island was called. Seishioke. No, I got it. Yeah, so the island itself, or the land itself, was called Recluim. And so when the settlers settled there, it was later called Seishioke. But yeah. I was such a weeb, dude. I was such a weeb. I have 10 pages of backstory here, by the way. And it wasn't even finished. I had 10 pages of backstory. Thoughts on making crafts as punishment systems that aren't just default of a genre, but make sense with the concept of the world being built? I think it depends. Like, it just depends on the idea. Like, for example, if you have a city state on a mountain, I feel like one of the death punishments would be like throwing you off a cliff. You know what I mean? Or perhaps like there's like a certain like job that people don't want to do, and so they use it as a punishment. Like, for example, like, I don't know, what's a good example of this? I can't think of one. But if your city has like a certain industry, and there's a certain job that people don't want to do, you can use that as punishment for crimes. It'll always be a variation of an existing thing, but you can make it unique to that area. Yeah. I remember though, Primoshi. That was exactly what it was, I think. It was exactly that. But I already got it. I'd say be careful, it involves ceremony guard. No, it was simply just casual, like what the casual wear would be. It wasn't heavily inspired. It was just in my mind though. I didn't really draw it out or anything. Yeah, I'm very careful about this. Can I add to this as a discussion topic? It's possible to just write a fictional encyclopedia for a world without needing to write a story. Yeah, it's true. You can just simply write like a wiki for your world without writing a story. It's just writing a story makes it easier for me to plan things out. Right. That said, history is technically a story, has the word story in it, right? So you don't really need a story for it, but you do need to figure out how things came to be, is what I would say. Yeah. Dude, this is such a long time ago. Oh my god. I wrote this character as like an incarnation. I don't want to say the names. I don't want to say the name. It's cringe. It's cringe. It's cringe. I don't want to say the names. It's cringe, but yeah, this is the example I had for like combining like cultures for like clothing ideas and how people would dress and stuff like that. Please do. No, it's super cringe, everybody. It's super cringe. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Please. Dude, stop. No. Bro, one of them is named Sakura. No. Okay, I feel so cringe. This is when I was like a major weeb. Okay. The character's name was Odioji. The character's name was Odioji. O-D-Y-O-G-O-J-I. Odioji. And a lot of it you can tell was based off of like the naming conventions was very Japanese. Promotion, shut up! And so Odioji, I gotta find it. I gotta find it. What was his? Oh, like Omyoji? It sounds like Omyoji, but it's Odioji. And so his full name was, dude, I'm cringing. Odioji Ukiyumiya. Ukiyu. I had combined words. I had taken words from different Native American languages and combined them for names. It was so bad. It was so cringe. It was basic words like rain or something like that. But they sounded cool. I was like, you know, this is fire. Ukiu, not Ukiyu. Ukiyu. Ukiyumiya. What was the name? I forgot, bro. Real talk, I forgot. It's been such a long time. Yeah, that's his last name, Ukiyumiya. Yeah. Odioji Ukumiya. So cringe, bro. And his family was a family of weavers. And his family had developed a style based on, you know, their weaving background, and it used rapiers. I think it's a step of silk was what I called it. Yeah, I called it the step of silk. Was like the martial arts that they created. Yeah. So along with weaving, he was taught the step of silk by his uncle. I would describe it as like a dance. It was very, what's the word? Very not delicate. It was very precise and swift, and it was beautiful to look at. That's what it's called, the step of silk. So the thing with Odioji, okay, now I'm talking about freaking. It wasn't he a blood hunter? No, he was a freak. What did I make him? He was a rogue. He was a swashbuckler. He was a swashbuckler that would later turn double or multi-class into a monk with the way of astral self. Because the thing was, he was an incarnation of a vessel for like the guardian spirit of the land, and the guardian spirit's name was Dohatsuke. And so Dohatsuke would take a new vessel. But that vessel usually was of the royal family, because the first person that got that the vessel became, you know, I guess part of the royal family, and so the vessel privileges would pass on to another member every 100 years, I think. I don't remember. And so by the time that it was Odioji's turn, because Odio turned out to be like the bastard son, right? And so he was eligible to become the vessel. He was a 24th vessel, and they were known as the Yoki. It's so cringe. Okay, so he became the 24th vessel, the 24th Yoki. And they each had their own like titles. So they would become reflections, as in like reflections of what's on the island and reflections on nature, right? Yoki, Yohki, Yoki. And so I thought it was cool and like really smart that Odioji was the 24th Yoki, and he was a reflection of the moon, because the first Yoki was a reflection of the sun. And so, like, you know, 24 hours a day, the sun sets, the moon comes, you know, right? I thought it was so smart for that. I thought it was so smart for that. So yeah, that's how I made it. And so eventually, you know, people like were looking for the next Yoki, right? And so they found out it was him because he was like in like a parade or something in the city, the main city of this area. And they have these crystals, which were remnants of where the Hasuke used to I guess remain. He had like this crystal cocoon he would like go back into recharge before, you know, going back into the island to protect it and so what, and that's what the vessels were used for, to like recharge. And so since they were back in the vessel supposedly, they would have these crystals that were part of the crystal cocoon that used to be like reside in, called what do they call them? Shoot, what did he call them? I think they're called remnant shards. I don't remember what I called them. Hold on. Remnant. There was something. Hold on, I'm trying to look. Give me 1 sec. Respite shard. That's what it was called. Respite shards. And so they had these respite shards that could detect the vessel or the yoki. And so they were looking, or they have these shards on their person, the people who look for it, and they start glowing. And so they're like, why is it glowing here when it wasn't glowing with the royal family? And so now people are like, what the frick? And so now they realize, oh, the vessel is amongst the crowd, but why? And so the son, the father of Oryoju realized, like, oh shoot, it's that kid that I might have had a while back, like, years ago. And so now the hunt started, and he knows exactly who it is, and it's the mother of Oryoji, and then so that whole thing happens and everything. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I had like lore. I had different noble families who were in charge of different things. I had like the noble family, which was the Atsujuro. I had all of that. They became corrupt over time, and like they didn't respect the wishes of the guardian spirit of Seishioke. It was a lot. It was a lot. I was heavily inspired too, landscape wise, by Ghost of Tsushima. So it inspired the layout and everything. Did you ever draw these out? No, it was strictly in my mind. How did they know it was them? Because I wrote it in that like the I think it was the second son. I think it was. Hold on, let me think. Let me read. Yeah, the second son of the current emperor had a relationship with the mother of Oryoji, and that was like the only time he really had one outside of like whatever was prescribed to him or whatever. And so he knows, he definitely knows. And so the emperor finds out, and so they start hunting for the mother, which would lead to the son. So yeah. Out of Boy Single Super, here's some high school OCs so you don't feel left out. I made a character called Afro Boy. He and his friends all had different symbols and powers based off their different hair textures. That is such an out there idea. I would have never thought of that. That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. Okay, I like that. You know what? I feel better about myself now. Oh my god. What were the names of the different families that I made for this place? Well, damn, I'm kidding. Let me find the names. Okay, so we had the Atsujuro, which became the noble family. We had the Ganodaira. Let me see what they became. Okay, yeah, so he assigned the Ganodaira, the Amasai, and the Elohyoshi to be important in certain areas of the country. So the Amasai were resource management and trade. The Elohyoshi became the royal guard. And they were like law makers or whatever, or like law enforcers. And the guards became known as the Aratate, and the Ganodaira were led in the effort to spread the name of the Hatsuke, so it became like the religious faction, kinda. Yeah, there it is. That's what it was. That's funny though. Afro Boy is such a crazy name. Oh my god. Okay, let me close the hook just to close out. Yeah, that's basically world building. That's how I do it. It's basic Q&A. I just wanted to yap today about world building because I need to yap about something before I continued on. I needed to. It was needed. Oh my god. Thank you for the yap. It was very informative. Well, I'm glad it was somewhat informative. I'm not good at making one, but I love drawing it. Making a world? Oh yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's hard. It's not for everybody. I love doing it because I love, you know, creating things in my own image, I guess you could say. It's fun. It's just a fun thing to do. Would you build a new world or adventure for Roswell for fun? No. No. I have too much respect for VCraft to just create a whole new thing for Roswell. I think I keep Roswell within VCraft and within what had happened in that world. Because Roswell belongs to that world. Roswell belongs to that world. And I'm not gonna put him anywhere else. If there is another place, another world, I will make a new character. For example, if VCraft 2 happens, I'll make a whole different character. I actually have ideas. Can I ask, how do you imagine Primaterra? It's hard because Primaterra is like, it's a whole world. There's different continents. For the one we're taught, for Shamai, I imagine a very cookie cutter high fantasy area with like plains and forests and things of the like, highlands. I imagine that. Not a crazy desert anywhere. Usually just plains, forests, mountains, things of that nature. Steppes. World building is no joke, but building it and seeing it come to fruition and being used is extremely satisfying. Yes, it's extremely satisfying. Promotion can attest to that. He runs a campaign, or ran a campaign, or is running one, or did run one. It was one of the like, and I've heard it's very. He sounds like it's had fun, and I've had fun when I ran my campaigns too. So yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and depending on how much effort and how specific you want to be with it, it takes a lot of time. But if you're gonna do it though, I highly recommend trying to, at least for your own enjoyment, to see how you like it, or if you like it at all. Yeah, I'm still excited to know why you named it Primaterra and why it's just spelled with one T. Almost done with it after years of running it. almost done with it. I can't wait to see what happens. You haven't kept me updated on that. I kind of want to know what happened. Please, fine. You know what? I'll tell you why. I'll give you one clue. Okay? It's based, or the name Primaterra is based off a certain myth involving a rock. And from that myth, I took something and put it into the name of the world that we all come from, most of us. It is your job to figure out what I'm talking about. You'll figure it out. It's based off a myth of a certain rock. Not rock, I guess you would say. I wouldn't say it's a rock. A stone. Dr. Stone. It's a myth. And it's not a myth What does Dwayne Johnson have to do with this? So much. You have no idea. It's not a myth from really any specific culture. It's just a myth. You guys can talk about it on Twitter. I would like to see it. You guys talk about it on Twitter. I'm excited to see if you figure out what the heck the name Primateria stems from. I was also thinking low key. I was thinking of consolidating a lot of my tags. Speaking of on Twitter, I was thinking of like combining tags and stuff like that in order to make everything more simple when it comes to tagging things, because I have a lot of tags. I'm not gonna lie, I have too many tags. So I might simplify it later in the future. Just keep that in mind. Things might change. And I'll make a new post for those tags and I'll put the reference sheets in there as well. So just keep that in mind, everybody. So Primateria sounds like it means first Earth. You'll find out. You'll find out. I thought you were gonna say you're gonna organize and consolidate your lore. You know me, dude. I'm so bad at organization. I just have the ideas in my head. Yeah. So I'm gonna organize the tag and stuff just to make it all simpler. Can we have another hint on the myth? No. It's just pure theory. A mythical theory. Thanks for watching. Matt Pat? Matt Pat's here? What the heck? Myth, like a myth story? Like myth, like something we theorize on rocks but hasn't been proven. Myth story. It's prevalent. It's prevalent. When you hear about this, you'll be like, oh! That! It's not a story, it is a myth. It is not a story, it is a myth. I don't want to give the answer. I like you guys seeing. I like seeing you guys think. Is it related to the name source of the crystals? Yeah. Hold on, let me check the link. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. No, it's not. It's not. The only thing that comes to mind is the Philosopher's Stone. Perhaps. Bro, check his own lore. No, no. Not my own lore. I'm checking the origins of this. I can see the word. I can see the word right in front of me. Greek. I told you, it's not a Pacific mythos. It's prevalent in a lot of areas. It is prevalent in a lot of cultures. It is not strictly one culture. But it's a myth. It's a myth. Yeah, I found it. Yeah, good wild. Shush. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. So a prevalent myth about rocks. No, a prevalent myth about a rock, a stone. That's all I'll tell you. You guys can figure it out, okay? You guys can figure it by yourself. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna send you over to Haka. He's doing a Tengu talk. So if you guys want to hear some more yapping by the bird brain himself, by all means. Yeah. I will send you guys over there. I'm gonna get water and probably play some Pokemon before I do more work. All right, everybody. Also, I downloaded Final Fantasy 14 again just to see if I play it. I just have it there. If I see it, maybe I'll play it. But yeah, I'm getting back into playing games again because I've been working for a very long time and I want to relax. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is our watch along. If you guys want to watch some Kamen Rider Zets, it's the new Kamen Rider that came out. We're gonna watch the first 4 episodes. So if you guys want to watch that, I'll make the waiting room and we can hang out. It's on YouTube, by the way, so we don't have to go through hoops and hurdles to watch this damn thing. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. And then we'll raid into the watch party or the pre-party for Nayu, and then we'll watch Nayu's 3D and we'll have a good time. All right, everybody, I will catch you on the flip side. Asa Rosco, mate ne jane. Bye bye. Alchemy.